what we want beyond everything else is for everyone to treat us exactly the way we treat them. So now we are assuming we treat them well. Because if we don't treat them well, then we are quite all right with everyone being rude to us. Everyone not being okay with us. What disappoints you even more if the ones that you treat well don't respond with the same treatment, don't respond the same way, and they are rude and they are unthinking and uncaring for your feelings. You've never thought about what you say. Very often, without even realizing it, you can hurt people. So always begin with the one, they have the yamas and niyamas in Ashtanga Yoga. One of the niyamas that is your relationship with your personal observances, is ahimsa. Nonviolence. So let me begin with that, because everything that comes out of our mouth is a function of what we hear, what we think, how we process it in our minds, and what we put out. Right? So you can have non-violence in your thought. I've had those thoughts very often, like I'm driving, someone cuts me off. Many non-violent thoughts come, but I don't give it audience. It doesn't mean it doesn't come. It comes. Somebody is rude to you at the checkout counter, or taking their own times, looking at their nails, and then typing something, and then looking at their nails, and you have to go somewhere. And when you say, come on, hurry up, you get a very sharp response back. Who has been rude here? Whose attitude is bad? Yours or theirs? Do you have the patience to control what is going on inside you? All kinds of thoughts. Immediately, you're late. You have to attend the meditation. You're stuck at the gate. She's taking her own sweet time. The car is not moving. The guy is sitting and chit-chatting. It's annoying you. You can feel your pressure rising. You just want to say or do something. And what do you do at that time? Those are violent thoughts. Violent thoughts are thoughts when you can't tolerate a situation. When you're completely intolerant of what is happening, that's how it begins. It is a matter of degree. For you, it might be just the gate person that bothers you. For someone else, it may be the sight of a black man that does it for him. For someone else, it may be the sight of an immigrant that does it for him. For someone else, it's the sight of their wife. The sight of it. I mean, you have stories of intolerance towards, violence towards women. Where does it start? It starts in the mind. Frustrations are building up. Perhaps because of the situation. You just lost your job. You've retired and you lost a lot of money on a stock that didn't work well. We're all very comfortable here. We don't have the pressures that a lot of people have. We don't even think about the pressures that others have. There are days when they can't get food in the house. Then the very sight of your wife, over whom you have some power, triggers something. I can guarantee you, no matter what the pressures, no matter what aggressive thoughts are going on in your brain, if you don't have power over the other person, if you don't have a sense of feeling superior, you will not raise your voice or say something non-violent. You will not say it to your boss. You will not say it to your principal. You will not say it to your mother-in-law, father-in-law, whoever you respect, or you might. I don't know. You just might. But I'm just saying, it is a power struggle. It is only when you feel I have complete control over the other person is when you let your attitude show. That is when the boss will just throw the papers in your face and say, go do this again. Have you ever thrown the papers in your boss's face? Say, this is rubbish. You will not do it. Why? You don't have the power, at least in your head. You think you don't have the power. There is a power equation. But that is a weakness, isn't it? When you think about it, to inflict on weaker animals is a sign of a coward. A brave person confronts and controls his thoughts. A weak coward is one who gives audience to this side of him, this non-violent side of him. And so if his wife brings tea that's tepid, he doesn't think twice about throwing it against the wall and raising his hand against her face. And worse. And that boss won't think twice about using bad language in front of, in a group. I was surprised, a friend of mine was telling me that they use ridiculous language in an office setting that they have to hear. Abusive language. I can't hear it in a regular way. Every time I hear it, I cringe. It's a very good thing I don't have a job. I'm grateful each day that I'm not employed because I could not take that. Not from anybody. Not from a single person. So should you take it? Should you sit back and just say these are people's attitudes? He holds the power over me. It's a question of my job. I lose my job. I lose my place. I won't be able to get... So what kicks in at that point? You're angry. You're upset. But you're also very frightened. And I mentioned to you guys when we had the workshop that your greatest enemy is your fear. You fear you lose your job. So the fear of losing the job far outweighs the fear of standing up for what's right, for upholding your self-esteem. And then you decide to keep quiet. No, one cannot control other people's attitudes and values. But you do have a choice here. Number one, you can see that the person who is being abusive, the person who is acting in a way that's not acceptable, is weak, is powerless, is a coward. Doesn't know better. And you forgive that person. And just bring a smirk to your face, like. Because even if you said something, it may not work. But I always say that it is important to stand up for what's right. It is because we keep quiet that these crimes are perpetrated. You have to stand up for what's right within our community. We have knowledge, we interact with people who beat their wives within our community. And most of you know who I'm referring to. You cannot sit quietly. You have to stand up and say what is right. You have to have an attitude even if it involves a little harshness on your part. So are you being non-violent? Are you being violent actually by, say, ostracizing a person because he beats his wife? That becomes another question, right? Blindly accepting everything that is heaped on you doesn't lead you to greatness, doesn't make you enlightened. Standing up for what is right is a sign of greatness. That's what made Martin Luther King. That's what made Mahatma Gandhi. That's what makes Malala. They are standing up to what is wrong. And we do it in small measures in our sphere of life. So your non-violence is not just in words or in action. It's easy to understand where, non-violence in action, where it comes from. But the worst is the one in thought. If it exists inside your head, you already have a war going on. Should I say this, but he said that to me, how dare he do that to me, I should never tolerate this, and then, something is going on. The cycle of thoughts goes on and on. You haven't let it go. And the important thing is that you have to realize that beyond and above, and the first thing that you have to think is happiness is my birthright. I will be happy today and every day, and I will not let any person, event or situation rob me of that birthright. That is your first concern. So you do what it takes to keep that peace, to keep that happiness. If losing your temper raises your blood pressure, makes you think about it again and again, for goodness sake, don't do that. The option for you will be a different option for you, and it will be a different option for you. Your situation is completely different. The important thing is that it needs to be resolved then and there and released. Don't let it go on and on and on and on in your brain. That just robs you of any peace. What is done is done. So if you can find it in your heart to forgive that person who is rude, because of all the reasons I gave you, that they're a coward, that they've had a bad day, that they don't know any better, that it's just a power equation. All of these reasons, I don't know about what else I gave. Then say something, do something in your defense. But be ready to stand by that. If you're going to stand up to abuse, be ready to go all the way. Either way, whatever the choice is yours, and the repercussions are also yours. We all have choices. In our home, it's a motto. No bad words was pasted on every room. We're not allowed, permitted to use abusive language or bad language in our house. Not even, damn or something. In that, Raji will raise his eyebrows and then kids will feel terrible guilt. But I don't mind that. That kind of guilt is good. So many beautiful words in this dictionary, so many lovely things to say. Why must we say bad things and have bad thoughts about people? It ruins the quality of our own day. Why ahimsa? Why ahimsa? When we were hunters and gatherers, we killed animals, right in the beginning. That is how it was all in our DNA. We survived, we did what it took to survive. Why ahimsa? Because the best reason you're here is to discover your love, your peace, and to share that with more and more people. That just changes everything. You are not drawn to the person who is bitter. You are not drawn to the person who is rude. You may be drawn for the wrong reasons to the person who is popular. But we are just here for a little while. If in that short while you discover that you're only here to discover that love and to share it, everything else, just kind of falls into place. Everything falls into place. If you continually remind yourself, happiness is my birthright, I will be happy today and every day, and I will not allow any person, any event, any situation to rob me of that birthright. You tell yourself this again and again and again. Automatically it comes up in moments of strife, in moments of confrontation, in moments of potential arguments, in moments of difference of opinion. And you learn to do the right thing because you tap into your source. And when you move in, the path outward is always one of love. So it's done with compassion and with love. Not with animosity, not with hatred, not with vengeance. Not to get back, not to have the last word. We don't need any of those things. Those belong in the violent basket. We don't need those. You can win an argument just with a smile. You don't have to have the last word. I never have the last word. I always remember the last word next day. That doesn't matter. I have a smile. And I think that's my most powerful weapon, and it should be yours too. So, attitudes of other people are formed by so many different things. You be concerned with your own attitude. Because honestly, you cannot control anything anybody does. But yes, you can control your reaction to it. Yes, you can change your perspective. Yes, you can keep your peace of mind. That, my dear, is priceless.